Jason say, sure enough, it might be another brother that she into. However, he didn't crack that shell to her intimacy level. And Liz say he leaned in, she matched his effort, and it felt nice. I know that's right. Let's talk about it. So the ladies are back at the ladies' lounge. Tommy announces that this process is halfway through and that, he understands that the connections are getting stronger, the hugs are getting longer, and some of them hugs are turning into rubs. I know that's right. So anyway, he gives them an exercise to do where he has them to close their eyes. And as each of the ladies close their eyes, he asks them to envision the person they see as their number one. And in, the fact that not only are they number one, they see and have a romantic connection with that person. And so you see Vernisha say, of course, she's thinking of Joel. And you see Amber's like, I see somebody who's stylish and sexy and cool. Yeah, I see Chris. So as they're doing that exercise, he say, okay, so that's not the person I want y'all to go out with. And he tells them to instead, I want you all to make a connection and intentionally go out on a date with a person that you wouldn't normally, go out on a date. I.e. probably the person at your bottom. And so he said, no disrespect. However, a lot of you all are still single because you keep dating the same type of guy who, they're not necessarily the best fit for you or the best person for you to elevate you to, operate in your highest potential as a partner and even as a person. So first we see Alexis and Ron. And the first thing I thought was, what she got on? She looked like a little fairy, like the little pixie fairies that you see. She had on her little ruffle outfit and her little snakeskin booties. Yeah, that's Alexis Fly. That's Alexis Fly, y'all. So anyway, you see her meet up with Ron at a putt-putt golf course. She actually admits to him that he's going to have to kind of probably show her some things because she doesn't really know how to do it. However, she wants this date because AJ is her top and Ron is the total, opposite of her. However, they talk all the time on the phone and there's a connection on the phone and she wants to see if she has that same chemistry with him in person. So they begin to go on the putt-putt golf course. And you can clearly see that Alexis has definitely expressed her love language to Ron also. That her love language is physical touch. So he made sure he incorporated that into their date because it was a whole lot of touching and a hugging and a lifting with them two. Alexis goes on to voice that, per their conversations, he has expressed some concerns, I guess, about her Christian values or, her being a church girl or something. And so he's like, yeah, because I kind of, I'm kind of a man out here in these streets. He didn't say that. Actually, what he said was that, he kind of been a rock star all his life. And so I don't know. I don't know what story Alexis then told, but it's her truth, so it's not for me to judge or question. So she went on to explain in the end is looking for somebody, who she has a true connection with. And then she throws a little shade because she say, she understands that Chris is in his top. However, in her confessional, she asked, do you want somebody that you can just have a trophy wife? Or, you want somebody to build with? She might be single, beautiful, with no kids. But, I got that magic touch over here. And if you want to go higher, Alexis Fly is the one. She goes on to say, how she feels like this priesty king vibe from him. However, she wanted to know, where he was, or where was she in his line of succession. And that, he need to be able to explain to her not only where was she in line, but he need to explain why she is there. And he kind of stumbled and fumbled a little bit, kind of reminded me of the conversation that he and Stacy had. So I don't know. He seems to have more of a connection with Alexis, so he might give her more grace. But I think that was one of the things that kind of turned him off about Stacy. He went on to say, that he was in a good place, where he was happy prior to this process. But, making a connection with her, and so far, the connection they have made over their conversations not only, keeps him happy, but he feels a sense of elevation. He feels with her, with her Christian views and, who she is as a person, that he can see himself growing, right? And that his life, would definitely be elevated. And between the two of them, he can see them as a power couple. All right, Ron. All right. Although he stumbled around a whole lot as to, where Chris was, why she was there, how he didn't say it to enough people, so she should have got it. But whatever, it satisfied Alexis. Like I said, he know her love language. So every time he, started to feel a little fumble, he just grabbed her and hugged her. Or, she just grabbed. So next we see Amber and AJ. They meet up at the park. AJ has some cups of tea, for them both. She had on her little cute little leather outfit. But I don't know, her energy coming to both their energies to me were they was vibrating very low, as people would say. However, not necessarily excited to see each other and go through this experience, but definitely let's have a conversation. That's what I got. He has this playboy arrogance about him. And he was like, well, I don't even know where I stand with you. And she was like, well, do you want to know? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, well, let me tell you. I like Chris is in my top and Ron. And he was like, oh, wow. Yeah, see, I'm not nowhere near it. And then he said, I'm not in the mix, but, how can I get in the mix? Or is there a chance for me? So she goes on and says that, I don't know. I mean, you just seem so unapproachable, is what she told him. He was unapproachable, and that for her, she matches a person's effort. And he doesn't put in the effort. She feels that, he believes he don't need to put in the work. That he kind of got it like that. And that very well may have been his past. He kind of spoke to that in the beginning. They say he was a playboy, he was a man of the street. He acknowledged that, he confessed that, and that was his truth. So what she's saying is correct. However, I guess for AJ, he hasn't opened up enough for me to say that he's not a playboy. But I guess I don't know. I don't see all the playboy vibes that they see. But of course, we just see snippets of, a 10-hour day, right? So we see 2 minutes of a 10-hour day. So for me, I don't know if he's there for a connection, but it kind of feel like he's there for a connection. But he was like, yeah, I was on the ropes this whole little conversation. And so next we see Chris and Chris. And Chris says that, in following the challenge that Tommy tasked them to do, she was going to meet up with Chris and see. However, she don't really like, the backup plan thing. But she feels she needs one because, Ron been moving a little different, or Alexis have made enough statements to her to give her some doubt with Ron. And so she's going to meet up with Chris. She said Chris has, piqued her interest a little. She actually feel that maybe he, his calm and collective personality can probably calm her down, right? And so she was willing to give it a try. Then you see Chris, the male Chris, is like, I was surprised to get the call from her. The couple of times that I tried to, make some type of connection or have a conversation with her, she kind of brushed me off. And he's like, cool. He brushed his hands off and was like, okay, next. That's just not for me. And so they greet each other. They have a seat. And she goes on to tell him that she was raised in Italy. She was there till she was 7 years old. But she never knew her dad the whole time. In fact, she had just met her dad 6 years ago. And they were cool. She feels she looks just like him. And then he was like, wow, well, in my case, my dad, he wasn't even trying to claim me. He was like, yeah, he might have kept in contact every once in a while, but, for me, I got a call from my cousin saying he had passed away. And so that's what that was like. And so she said her mama went all the way over there to have a baby by an Italian. But it was just, all right, was it a one night stand or something? But she stayed and you never, you went over there to have a baby by the Italian. But then he didn't know the baby. Yeah, okay. Well, to each their own. It's not for me to judge. It worked for her. But Chris goes on to say she does not know how to be, she does not know how to exercise affection to her favor because she didn't grow up in an affectionate environment with her mom. Her mom's way of showing that, I love you is to make sure, things was good with them. And so Chris was like, wow, well, how did that work for you in relationships? And she was like, it didn't. That's why I'm not in no relationship. She doesn't really know how to make those type of connections. So it's difficult for her. And it made me think of like when they first introduced them, I kind of got the sense that she was like a take it or leave it type chick. I am who I am. Either you gonna like it or love it. Either way, I'm good. And so that would explain that for me. The fact that, she doesn't really have that in her toolbox per se to be affectionate. Because with affection comes, empathy, comes a softness, comes, a willing to give and take, not just take, right? So that explained a lot for me. He then says to her, let me read this date that we're having. For me, if I read it, I kind of see it as a 70-30 type thing. Like, yeah, he cool or whatever, but, it's not really there. And she was like, yeah, that's about right. And he's like, in his confessional, he said he feel the same way. He didn't necessarily feel a connection between them, but it was all good, And he don't feel he needs to entertain nothing that, got him feeling 50-50, because that's how he feeling with Chrysanthema. But with Amber, yeah, he feeling her. And however, it looks like, I'm doing the same thing like last time, putting all my eggs in one basket, but I'm going with my gut. My intuition says she the one, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go through this process, right? But yeah, I think I got my eyes set on her. So then you see Amber and my baby daddy, Joel. So Amber looks really cute. She come to the date. They going out to dinner. And Joel says, he's not a stranger in having conversation with Amber, because the times that they have had conversation with each other, he felt connected with her. She had good conversation for him. He asked, they greet each other. He asked, could he kiss her? She was like, how many other people you didn't kiss? And he was like, I ain't didn't kiss nobody. At least I don't think. So anyway, she allows him to kiss her. That was cute. And then she tells him, depending on how this date go, I might reciprocate that. And he was like, what? Oh, okay. So then they sit down and begin to have a conversation. And she asks about his day. How was your day? He was like, let me tell you something. Whatever was going on for day, I didn't know at the beginning of my day that we was going to be getting together. But once this connection was made that we was going to be hooking up tonight, the rest of the day didn't even matter. I just knew I was coming to spend some time and I was going to be able to get to know you more. And I thought that was cute. Joe he always know what to say, y'all. I don't know. It could just be who he is, or I don't know, but he always got the right answers in my book. That's how I feel about it. She asked him, how do you feel about being married again? Do you think you'll get married again? And he was like, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking to be in another committed relationship. I love companionship. I know I can do it and I'm ready for it. And then he asked her, how does it feel, to, have a possibility of dating somebody 10 to 11 years older than you? Not only that, I'm, 10, 11 years your senior. I have 2 kids and 2 kids that don't have a mom. How do you feel about that? Or where are you in that process? And then she goes on to say that, she'll never try to replace their mom. She's not into that. However, she feels that she's a very nurturing and caring person. And so she's okay with that. She can easily see herself stepping into the role of a bonus mom. That's what I would call it. With his children. And he was like, I like that. So then, in his confessional, he was like, I'm just going to be honest. I ain't never been one to run up after no 31-year-old. I'm 47 years old. However, but she got a little something different about her. Her age don't really match her intellect or her vibe. And that, it's uncommon. And so they kind of talked about that. And she was like, yeah, I got like an old soul. And he was like, yeah, I'm feeling that. And so then he asked her, could he feed her? Did she want to taste what they were eating? She said yes. And, she said she felt some sparks. Now, I ain't really see him, but she said she felt them. So I'm going to go along with it. Something went on because at the end of the date, she said, he asked for a hug. And she's like, yeah, oh, and I'm going to give you a kiss. I've said if the day went nice, then I will give you a kiss on the cheek. So she gave him a kiss on the cheek. And then he told her, look, and he was, put his hand under his shirt, talking about his heart was beating fast. So clearly it was more than what we saw. But it was good. It was a cute date. I don't necessarily see them as a fit, though. So then we see Liz and Jason. They meet up at a little park area or area near Ferris wheel. I guess they have a Ferris wheel in their downtown area. And Liz, she showed up and she had a little setup and decorated the table and everything. And she said she was actually happy to see him. However, when Jason walked up, he was like, I ain't gonna lie. When I saw her, I was nervous, but she looking fine, So they both embrace each other and have a seat. And he asked her, is it anything, in our conversations that I haven't answered and that you would like an answer to? And she was like, sure. And Liz, she always gonna ask that little sex question. So she said, well, what you think about sex or sex before marriage? And he was like, sure, abstinence, you celibacy before marriage, I'm with that. My thing is that, in this relationship, if we go into a relationship and it's going to lead to marriage, I am willing to not only support you, I'm willing to honor your decision for doing that. And it's going to be hard. And he kind of peeked over to her little, shape and everything. He said, it's going to be hard. But at the end of the day, that's who I am. I'm willing to honor, respect, and, value your decision. If that's what you want to practice. And she said she appreciated his answer, and that made her feel good about, how she's feeling about him. So then she goes on to say, okay, so I'm 40 and you're 36, how do you feel about dating an older woman? And he was like, well, first of all, you looking fine as ever. You looking younger than me. So, I don't even really see you as an older woman. But I'm cool with it. I like the way this got us feeling. So then you see them go get on the Ferris wheel and, they kind of slugging it up to each other. And so when it gets to the top, he's like, wow, I feel like we on top of the world. And she would say, yeah, and they made small talk. And then she was looking up at him. And Jason, let me tell you about Jason. Jason said, I'm going to seize this moment. She gazed up at him. He embraced her face and gave her a kiss. And I thought that was cute. For me, it looked like it showed Liz that Jason has a side of him, or a mature side of him, to, you know, take the lead. And for her, I felt she matched it. And the fact that he took advantage of the gays in an appropriate way, and her response to the gays, because to me, her response to him by matching it with, you know, she didn't turn her head or anything. She allowed the kiss to happen, and then she affirmed it. You know, she was like, okay, well, I'm affirming. She laid her head, you know, lovingly on her shoulder. So I thought that was cute, and I think it gave him a level of courage and gave her a level of confidence as to the potential of this relationship. You know, it kind of took that maybe little boy thought, you know, because like I said, Liz is a grown-ass woman, y'all. However, it kind of evened the playing field a little bit as far as not seeing age, just seeing the person for face value and what they could bring to this table, and just, you know, being open. And so he said, you know, other dudes might, you know, have a piece of her, but yeah, I done knocked down some walls and allow her heart to open a little bit, because she has responded to me in a way that she hadn't with anybody else. I know that's right, Jason. Jason said, I'm gonna shoot my damn shot. After that red dress, yeah. He said, I like this. And so, I don't know, I kind of see this as a mismatch, right? So she doesn't really necessarily have the experiences of somebody, of a normal, quote unquote, 40-year-old when it comes to being in committed relationships. But so it kind of brings her age down to kind of match him a little bit. So I can see what was happening, especially when he took advantage of the kids. And then when they got off of the ride, y'all, and she went through and she was cleaning up and packing away her little stuff, you can see he was kind of in his mind contemplating like, yeah, I got to find the right moment. And so she was putting the stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, I got this, which gave him a chance to reach over to her. And girl, he got in another one. I said, go ahead, Jason. Go ahead. She was like, wow. And in her confessional, she was like, yeah, Jason then took me by surprise. She's like, my heart is with Super Dave, but yeah, Jason is definitely a contender. I thought that was cute. So then you see AJ and Kyra. And ironically, the song that's playing in the background had the lyrics, I'm in over my head. I don't know. You know, they always play songs that's pertinent to what's ready to go on. But I caught that, right? And so he meets her. You know, they're at a restaurant called Tony's. And he meets her at the entrance. He is holding some beautiful roses. She pulls up in her, you know, sports BMW. He opens the car door, you know, up to greet her and ushers her into the restaurant where he has reserved a private room. Go ahead, AJ. He went from couldn't pay for a drink where he reserving private rooms. I know that's right. He know he needed to come correct, right? So as they have a seat, she goes on to say how she has like a good angel and a bad angel, you know, when it comes to dealing with AJ. And that she feels she has a connection with him, but it's like he still feels like a wild card to her. And for him, he was like, well, you know, he feel that, you know, he needs to make sure this date goes well, because he needs to climb out of the hole, you know, because of their past and what happened with that debacle, you know, of a date they had. He feels he needs to come with it 100%. To show and prove to her that, you know, that's not who I am. That happened. Life happened. However, this is now. And so they go on to talk. And she said, well, you know, let's play a game. And the game is never have I ever. And if you have to take a drink. So she starts and say, never have I ever cheated in a relationship. And so you see him pick up his drink, and then she, you know, was like, well, do high school count? And he was like, come on now. So she's like, okay. So they both drank. So meaning they both had cheated before. So then he says, never have I ever been in love. And so then she picks up her drink, and then he finally picks up his drink. She was like, oh, okay, I was about to say. And so they both drank to that. And so then she asked him, do you mind me asking you some questions about, what happened in those relationships? And so he went on to say, sure, of course I've loved, several times, or been in love several times. And she was like, so what about those relationships didn't work? She asked about, communication in those relationships, and were there some communication gaps, whereas, it just didn't work out. And he said, sure. He said he felt that there was a lot of communication. However, as far as he's concerned, it may not have been effective communication. So she goes on to explain that if there was times where there was not effective communication, especially in a committed, relationship where they were intimate with each other, then evidently, there was a misstep with speaking each other's love language, where that, coupled with the communication just didn't work. And you can tell, and that's when I thought about the song. Yeah, he way in over her head, because the answer he gave didn't even properly match the response that was warranted to the statement she had made prior. And so then you can see where she felt that she needed to break it down even more so he can understand. And so she went on to say, okay, so say like, if I'm having a problem or I'm having a bad day, then, and I'm trying to talk to him, he was like, well, who said the bad day gonna be about me? And she was like, yeah, see, no, you know. And so I don't know if it was his nerves. And so he wasn't even listening, he wasn't doing active listening. Let me say that. So he was just hearing, waiting for a chance to respond instead of listening so he can give a proper response. And so she was like, yeah, the communication is like, I want it to work, but we just like keep missing it's not going like this. It's kind of like, it's not getting in the folds together. And he was like, however, in being, a loner and walking to the beat of my own drum and being in the relationships that were just really ships, there was no interdependence. So I think with him making that statement, took the accountability away from him showing up to his full potential. And she kind of side-eyed him. And then she kind of just made the statement, saying that I like you and I want this relationship to work, but I need both of us to commit to, removing some of the walls we have up and allowing each other to see each other's heart. I want to see your heart. I want to remove the walls around me so you can see my heart. And the only way that's going to work is if we both commit to making that happen. And so he agreed. That's something that they were going to commit to. He talked about how he felt, the date was going great, and, there were a lot of intimate moments, and she, leaned in and asked for a kiss on this cheek, and then she turned to the other cheek, and, you can tell it kind of, well, first he made the statement, he was like, man, I felt almost like I was on the ropes, like, her line of questioning, but then it kind of eased up a little bit once he explained, his past. Because then it's so ironic because a lot of the women see him as arrogant and confident. However, when it comes to once you really confront him about the substance in conversations or the substance of a relationship, to me, he don't have that much confidence. I don't know. Maybe that, I don't know. I'm just seeing snippets because I don't see all this arrogance and Playboy stuff that they see. However, we only seeing snippets of the show. So then we see Vernisha and Deidre, and they show up and they have looks like it's a brunch maybe, and he asked her, why did she pick this place? She was like, because I like the food. and in the ambiance. And he was like, okay. And so he said he likes Vernisha. And he believes them to be connected on an ambitious level. You know, he feels they're both ambitious, grown people. And he actually said, you know, to him, she's a goddess. However, she is a goddess that comes with the knowing of who she is. And so she states that, you know, she like him, but, you know, she just need him to open up a little bit. So she asked him, you know, how's he feeling about the process so far? And he talks about, you know, it's okay. You know, he does feel a connection to her. And that she says, you know, because she feels a little overwhelmed with the process. So then he goes on to ask her, what is a day like in Vernisha's world? And she was, you know, like, besides work, you know, I'm running people to choir practice and dance practice, you know, that's kind of, you know, I have a full day. And he was like, you know, well, do you have room for a relationship? And then she spoke his language. She was like, you know, if you really want something, you gonna make room for it. And so I want a relationship. I'm looking to be in a committed relationship. So therefore, I'm going to make the time needed and necessary for that to come to pass. And so he was like, yeah, I like that. So then he asked her, what are her expectations in a relationship? And she was like, well, I'm looking for leadership. You know, I'm looking for a man to lead. I'm looking for a man to be head of the household. I'm looking for a man to be a man, you know, or be more than a man. And he was like, yeah, you know, people have, you know, being a man is subjective, right? It's based on your feelings or your feelings about what do you think a man is. And so she was like, yeah. And she was like, he's like, you know, because some people, you know, they want the man to pay all the bills, to cook and clean and do everything. I'm looking like, really, Dietrich? And I'm thinking that was his way of trying to figure out how much he need to bring to the table. Let me put it that way. Because at least that's what I felt. You know, it's like, because who expect the man to pay all the bills, cook and clean? So what's she doing? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she raising the kids. I don't know. But even, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, she said, nah, you know, I'm not looking for, you know, somebody to do everything. You know, I've been holding it on my own, raising my kids, you know, all this time. So I'm good. However, I do, you know, want a man to, you know, light my load a little bit. Be like, you know what, baby, I got that. Don't worry about it. And he was like, oh, okay. And then it just looked like he was deflating. It was like he was shrinking. His head went down. His eyes dropped. His body language was just, it was like he was defeated or something. I don't know what happened. And so he was like, yeah, you make me nervous. I was like, what? And she was like, I make you nervous. So he asked her, well, do you see those qualities in me? And she was like, I don't know. You know, that's why I'm trying to get to know more about you, you know, so I can see, you know, your possible leadership, you know, qualities. And yeah, he just shrunk even more. So then she goes on to say in her confessional, you know, she need a man to be able to lead, point blank in a period. And that if she has to be the leader in a relationship, it's worthless. There's no need to be in a relationship if she has to lead. And I agree. As for me, at this stage and age in my life, yeah, I'm with Vernisha. I'm gonna need you to, you know, 10 toes down, you know, guide this ship, you know, and lead me in the direction that you feel, you know, our marriage or relationship should go. And I am going to willingly submit to your leadership. However, you know, my grandmother used to always say, you know, the men might be the head, but the women, we are the neck, right? So the real guidance comes from the neck because it determines the direction of the head. However, the head, by being on top, still feels in the lead, right? So, yeah, that's Vernisha say, If she gotta leave, no, no, thank you. So then, he's like, yeah, he gracefully bows out. In my opinion, he was like, yeah, you kind of make me nervous, but I still want to walk you to your car. I just thought it was weird. It's like, I don't know what happened. It's just something happened. And you can tell she was like, this month, she looked disappointed, in that. And she just kind of put her head down and started eating. So, yeah, Dietrich, after Tressa left, he ain't really had nobody. So, my prediction, yeah, was right. Dietrich, yeah. Mm-hmm. So then we're back in the ladies' lounge. Tommy comes back in and he's excited and he said he want to hear about these dates. He want to hear what happened. And he want to know, if their side pieces turned into main dishes. And so, you see all the ladies. So he asked Alexis to go first. And Alexis Fly is, she's animated. She's extra. She is assertive. She can be aggressive. She got all the A's. Remember, AJ was looking for the F's? Well, Alexis got all the A's. She can be annoying. She is just, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, she talked about her date with Ron and how they went to putt-putt golf, and she was like, it was magical. It was a lot of hugs and affection. I got a piggyback ride, and yeah. And by the way, he said I'm his number one, and she lifting up the glass. Tommy was like, yeah, cheers. It was like cheers. She was like, yeah, cheers to me. And you just see Chris, and I have to give her credit, and just I admired the way she handled herself in that position, because it was clear that Alexis, was doing team too much. However, Chris is like, I'm not bothered. Yeah, you just keep wanting somebody to tell you something. Well, he showed me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't care what he tell you. He showed me that I'm on top. I was like, go, Chris. Because Alexis to me, in my opinion, Alexis is here to win. This is a competition for Alexis. If she finds a relationship, yeah, is that what she wants? No. Alexis wants the trophy to put on her fireplace. Alexis is here for the competition. That explains why she keeps trying to make sure she's on everybody's top. She want to be everybody's number one, because her goal is to be one of the three ladies who are standing in the end. Her goal for being on this show, in my opinion, is for the competition of it all, not necessarily to find love. That would be a happenstance of, her winning. Yeah, okay. That's how I see it. Anyway, he asked Amber, to tell us about her date. And she talked about her going to dinner with my baby daddy, Joel. And how she was pleasantly surprised that, there was some, spark of romance or just kind of romantic feel to the date. And she said, he greeted her and asked for a kiss. She then told him, depending on how the date went, she would oblige him at the end with a kiss. So then Tommy say, do you know you gushing? And she was just kind of giddy. And you can see Vernisha over there like, yeah, no man, Pam. This is, yeah, And so, she goes on to say that, Joel have this like country boy kind of, smooth vibe. And Tommy was like, yeah, country smooth. And she was, just went on to explain that. But she said that, it was sweet and romantic. She enjoyed the date. And like I said, Vernisha was like, yeah, I'm feeling some kind of way. Because she is really feeling Joel, and she had not even shared a kiss with him. And so she feels that, that was a level of disrespect to her, according to whatever they have going on outside of the cameras. And so it should be interesting to see how that plays out. So next we see Kyra talk about her date. And she was like, I done been on the best date of my life. And she says how she and AJ, he met her out the car and, he escorted her out her car and, he had a private room and it was flowers and candles and lobster and he went all out. And then Tommy was like, well, did he pay for the date? And she was like, yeah, he paid for all of it. But she went on to say that she was able to get to experience AJ in a way that was deeper, and that while Jason holds her heart and he treats her with all of the care that she deserves, it's something about AJ that she still wants to explore. Anyway, Liz talks about her date with Jason. And, Liz is grown, so she's reserved. However, she kind of want to, I don't know, after she showed up at that ball, she just want to let everybody know. Don't sell me short, don't count me out. Matter of fact, you don't know. If you thought you knew, what Super Dave told them, whatever they thought they knew, they don't. So Liz talks about her date with Jason, and she says that they have a really good time. They relaxed into each other, and it was sort of romantic. And when they went on a Ferris wheel, and when they got on a ride, and then Tommy was like, and then what? And she was like, he leaned in and kissed me. And Tommy was like, well, did you kiss him back? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, did you like it? And she was like, it did. It changed, the dynamic of us getting together. It kind of, opened me up a little bit to, see Jason in a different light. And she was like, however, Dave still has my heart. But, Jason, he made some major moves. And you can see Kyra, she over there and she's like, yeah, I'm hearing everything you saying. As a matter of fact, I'm super competitive. Now, where Alexis is just showing us in her actions and deeds, Kyra say, I'm super competitive. So I'm going to match every word that you're saying. And so, to me, in my opinion, that showed me where Kyra is not there to find love. Kyra is there to do another hookup with AJ. They'll probably get together. I don't know. But she's not ready to love. Kyra is there for the competition of it all. And so I guess it may kind of explain why we don't see a lot of her interacting with anybody. Because the more people you interact with, the more you are exposed, per se. And so, however, to me, she showed her hand right there. She said she competitive. Tommy said, okay, so we talked about who everybody's feeling. So let's talk about who we not feeling. So then Vernisha starts and she say, for her, it's Dietrich. She's looking for a guy to lead. And yeah, he really didn't show her that side of him. She, wish she would open up a little more so she can possibly see if it's something there. And so then Vernisha, Liz and Kyra. Tommy asks Chrysanthema, who is it for you? And so she starts to talk about her date with Chris, KG Smooth. And she says that, we, connected on conversation about our fathers. However, it was no chemistry there, So it's Chris for me. So then you see Kyra was like, yeah, Chris, he's a cool, I kind of get a friendship, but, no, Chris is a no for me. So then Alexis is like, same thing. Chris is he's a homeboy, but no real connection. So then Amber say, oh, okay. Amber is short and sweet. I love it. So then Amber say, well, it's AJ for me. Amber say, well, it's AJ for me. AJ is arrogant, cocky. He think he the best thing since sliced bread, and all he got to do is show up to the party. Because evidently that's what he used to. And for me, I'm going to match your effort. And he don't give any effort. So Kyra was like, wait a minute. She was like, huh, y'all coming for Chris? Well, here I go. Yeah, so, and AJ, she say, AJ, if it's up to him, he feel his looks can carry him through. So yeah, he just here for the games. He not here ready for love. So AJ is in my bottom. She was so matter of fact. Oh my God. I was like, I love it. I love it. And so Alexis, now let me tell you. Alexis talking about, well, you know, after what I heard today, i.e., Kyra talking about how AJ done pulled all the stops with her, and he ain't done nothing but talk to Alexis when and if he feel like it, right? So now Alexis say, well, according to what I heard, AJ done slid all the way to the bottom. So then you see Kyra take a poll, was like, so you said no to AJ, you said, so she was like, wow. And she states that, you know, she kind of has a level of protection for him. So for her, you know, she kind of worried because AJ is, you know, he had everybody bottom except hers. And so, you know, she kind of take note. So then Tommy said, okay, well, y'all know what y'all got to do. You know, do it, keep it classy and cute. And so Kyra is going to speak with Dietrich. And they sent Alexis to talk to AJ. Okay. And so Kyra, you know, greets him. And she was like, look what your fancy kicks on. And it was like, he had that whole pawpaw look. He had the pawpaw tennis shoes, little whole pawpaw outfit. And, you know, she all, you know, young and vibrant, cute, half wraparound shirt. She looked really cute. And so she asked him, you know, what do you think about the experience so far? And he goes on to say that, you know, this experience actually showed him a lot about himself. You know, it showed him that he is not as assertive and probably ready for love as he thought, because it exposed the shyer side of him. And she told him that, you know, the ladies felt that he was, you know, not ready to love. And he said, okay, you know, he accepted it. He told her to tell the ladies thanks, and that, you know, he was going to take, you know, some time to himself, you know, and, you know, just the awareness that he gained from this experience. He was going to take time to do a lot of self-reflection and maybe uncover, you know, his reasoning for being so shy through this experience. Because, like I said, I think coming into this experience, he perceived himself as this straight up confident guy. And in the end, you know, he shrank. I mean, I don't know what Vernisha, baby, she got the power, cause that brother, yeah, his face almost hit the plate. That his eyes dropped and his damn nose almost touched them blueberries. Yeah, that's what happened with him. So then you see Alexis. Alexis go to talk to AJ. So she show up. Now, mind you, she still got the chip on her shoulder because Kyra then told about the best date that she'd ever had. And yeah, he ain't showed Alexis that. So she starts off like when she was talking to Troy. Well, you know, you ain't heard from me in a couple of days. It's almost like she feels she putting them on punishment, right? When stuff don't go her way, or she don't feel she getting the attention that she believes she deserves, she put them on punishment. So she said, well, you know, you ain't heard from me a couple of days. Yeah, well, you know, I don't feel important. You know, people still talking about, you know, all of what you're doing for them, and, you know, where you are with them. And yeah, you know, you supposed, if you for me, show up for me. Show me. She didn't forgot all about, she there to talk about, you know, what they talked about in the ladies' lounge. So, because she has expressed her love language to him also, he pulls her close and actually sits her in his lap. And you can tell that calms her down. However, Alexis is like, she was getting confused. She had to tell herself, Alexis, get it together, get it together. In her confessional, she was like, okay, Alexis, get it together. Because once he did that for her, yeah, all that rah-rah she had was kind of melting away. And so she felt, in order for her to get out what she needed to say to him, that, you know, they didn't need to be touching. She needed to be sitting across from him. And so then she took it back to her real purpose for being there. And was to tell him that the ladies felt that, you know, he had some things he needed to work on. So she goes on to tell him that the girls have him at the bottom. You know, he didn't drop all the way to the bottom. And so he said, well, where do you have me? And she said, oh, yeah, you at my bottom, too. Yeah, you know, because that thing with you and Kara, I don't know what's going on. So you at my bottom, too. And that they say that you're a playboy, that you're not for here for the real reason, and that you give off these sexual vibes. And I'm like, nobody said that. I think she took Kara saying that, you know, there was some chemistry between them and some affection. She didn't say they giving off sexual vibes. But it wasn't to all the ladies. It was just towards Kara. But, you know, she kind of can't even keep it straight. That's why she wasn't a good person to probably send. Good for TV, but the message, yeah, was all mixed up. But anyway, she goes on to say that, you know, when you with a woman, you need to make sure she feel you. You know, especially with me, you need to make sure I feel this is where I want to be. And if I'm your number one, you need to make me feel like you're number one. And he's like, okay. So then she tells him that, you know, he needs to get himself together because the ladies feel like, you know, he still is ready to love. And that, you know, you got another chance. So then you see him get emotional. You know, he just started kind of wiping the corners of his eyes. She was like, are you crying? And he was like, yeah. So she was like, what? And he was like, come here, you know, and grabbed her close. Because he know. Because when she apart, she just, yeah, she all of this. She this, you know, hey, you know, she need all the attention. She all of this. And if he grab her close, it calms her down. So, he said, you know, he showed his appreciation that, you know, and he was going to try to, you know, do better in it. So, just one person went home. It was just Dietrich. So I guess next week it'll be another guy that goes home. And so, yeah, another good episode, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. What did y'all think about the episode? I still think it's probably going to be AJ or maybe Dave, right? If Liz drop off with Dave, nobody else is kind of checking for Dave. So the two, if it's going to be a guy to go home next week, I think it'll probably be between Dave and AJ. That's my prediction. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Again, my name is Siobhan Patrice. I love you to life. Life is a journey. Choose yourself first and enjoy the ride. And don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe, click the bell. Until next time, peace.